The CuttySharkRace for a second time. The city beat off stiff competition from nearly 30 other ports across Europe and Scandinavia to become one of the 1997 hosts. 6 years ago, hundreds of thousands came to the harbour to see the ships. This year, the numbers are expected to top 500,000.
For the past 5 years, operations manager John Ling, who successfully masterminded the last visit of the race to Aberdeen, has worked to ensure the tall ships became Britain's free family event of the year. The arrival of the armada of vessels to compete in the race brought to a climax a period of intense activity for the massed ranks of organisers and helpers.
Over a period of something like 18 months, a very small project team and a huge support team out of the city, the police, fire brigade, ambulance, Coast Guard, Sea Cadets, Harbour Board, all those people who've been working towards what's happening now, which is the fruition. So it's a bit like a long distance race, this. You start off slowly, you put the bedrock in, you do the training, you get fit, you work out what your strategy is, and then you start to run towards the target.
To most people, a tall ship is just a massive vessel with square sails, but the variety of vessels in the harbour demonstrated the enormous difference among the competitors. Brigs, brigantines, barkentines, cutters and staysail schooners sat alongside yawls, ketches and cutters in the colourful display. While some attracted larger crowds than others, all added to the vibrant and lively atmosphere which for 4 days transformed Northern Europe Aberdeen into a city with a feel more akin to the Mediterranean. Many of those on board view the tall ships race as a voyage of discovery about themselves. But for one particular group, the journey has even more significance. Half of the crew on the Lord Nelson are disabled.
We've got wide open decks, so there's plenty of space for people in wheelchairs to get around, to turn around. Lifts between each level, powered steering, a talking compass, all sorts of things. People are always giving us suggestions of how it would be better for their particular disability, and I think a major strength of this organisation is the ability to listen and take on board ideas.
The 180-feet vessel is specially adapted and modified to ensure they can work together with their able-bodied crew members and carry out all the tasks on board. During their 4 days in Aberdeen, the crew got their first experience of what the next 8 days were going to be like, going through drills in port in preparation for the race itself.
Within 2 or 3 days, you get a contingent of about 30 people thrown together, so to speak. And within 2 or 3 days, you're talking to each other as though you've known each other for ages. So there's a lot of camaraderie.
Everybody sort of mucks in. There's no confrontation with disability and ability. We just get on with it and mix and match sort of thing. If you can't manage anything, nobody minds. You just do what you can. I think that's the best part of it. It's the best fun. You can forget disability as such.
Yep. Right, we're steering a course of 083 degrees.
083.
Yeah, that's fine. A bit more starboard helm.
Starboard helm.
Meanwhile, in the city centre, the marching season was in full flow. Sunday's heavy rain did nothing to dampen the high spirits. It was the biggest parade ever to march down Union Street.
Hello, you lovely, lovely people.
Say, baby, now, come on and working on now. You know you twist so good. Come on, twist
Unwelcome though it was, the downpour was mercifully restricted to only a few hours. The party atmosphere was quickly re-established as soon as the sun broke through.
We're on safari. We're actually doing a bit of hunting for lunch at the moment. What's that? That's beer, dear. You're right.
It's good coming with us and putting a bit of life into it and that.
It's a huge commitment for all involved in the race. There were more than 3,500 crew members on board the vessels in total. The Sail Training Association had two ships taking part, the Aberdeen-built Malcolm Miller with an all-male crew and the Sir Winston Churchill with an all-female crew. The association doesn't intend to turn their trainees into expert sailors during the 3-week trip to Trondheim and then Stavanger, but to give them the experience of their lives.
I think it's all like a matter of like pulling together as a team, and team like it's one of those things where teamwork's quite a good, it's a good thing, and if you can work as a team, then you get quite a lot of satisfaction out of that if it's successful.
I'm not a sailor. This is really new for me, so it's a bit of what I expected, but it's a bit there's a few unexpected things as well.
It's definitely not just a holiday. It's hard work. You learn a lot about sailing. I'm not a sailor myself and I don't know anything, so you learn about the ship and the sails and rigging it. And then you learn how to work in a team, and you get a really good...
about yourself, really.
Yeah, you get a really good spirit going between all the watchers.
16 different countries representing some of the world's great sailing nations came to Aberdeen. The world's biggest sailing ship, the Sedov from Russia, sailed into the harbour a day later than most, after being delayed on her journey from St. Petersburg. The four-masted bark was built in Germany in 1921, then given to the Soviet Union after the Second World War. She was transferred to their sea training division almost 20 years later.
They have got a lot of sea and they have got several academies, academies in the Baltic Sea, the North Sea, the academy in Vladivostok. They did have a very large fishery fleet, and they were training the navigators, the captains, the officers for the fishing fleet.
She's crewed by nearly 300, compared to the smallest ships in the race, crewed by only half a dozen. With masts almost as high as Nelson's column and sails large enough to cover a football pitch, she drew some of the largest crowds of the week. In the unstable world of post-communist Russia, her continued presence on the high seas is only guaranteed by charitable donations. However, it's a presence which will be fiercely protected.
We are trying to help every square rigger who comes to our races by various means and so on. We support the young people because our race, under the sponsorship of CuttyShark, is doing a tremendous work for the young people. So who is on the ships? The young cadets who are our future, the future of humanity. So those ships are extremely important.
All the boats and their crews had to be looked after, with minders attached to each one. It was their job as liaison officer to ensure needs were met, everything from engine parts and food to medical supplies. Jim Allison was the liaison officer for the Bulgarian state-owned ship Kaliatka, which had sailed from the Red Sea to take part. Like all the 120 officers, he volunteered for the job, inspired by the sight of the tall ships the last time they visited Aberdeen.
We were down at 7 in the morning, a cup of coffee at a buttery before we start, the 7:30 briefing, and then I try to get on the ship dead on 8:30, let them get settled. And from there it's 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock.
I have the most profound respect and liking for these people because all the rest of us, I'm a professional. I do this because I'm paid to do it. Our contractors do things for us, A, because they like us, but B, because we pay them. The sponsors do it because they get some benefit out of it. You know, they get exposure, they get public recognition, they get the enjoyment of it. The liaison officers do it for nothing. I wouldn't.
Would you do it again? Hey, listen, another 6 years' time, I'm not sure how fit I'm going to be. If I am, yes.
Aberdeen City Council, Grampian Enterprise and the Harbour Board pumped in £750,000 towards the cost of the event. The private sector has also made a substantial contribution. With local authorities facing ever-increasing financial pressures, how can the authority, though, justify the expense?
I think that the business section, anyway, is going to be satisfied with what's happened today. And I'm sure that the citizens of Aberdeen as well is going to be exactly the same.
We've estimated that it's going to bring about £12.5–13 million into the local economy. Obviously, at this point in time, I can't say whether that's been generated or not, but a number of hotels have said that this is the best weekend that they've ever had. So that's really tremendous.
As evening fell on Monday night, it was time for one of the highlights, the fireworks spectacular. The final morning of the tall ship's stay in Aberdeen, and still the crowds come. Some of the ships aren't fully crewed, and anyone who wants to get on board and can afford it has only a few hours left to sign up for the trip to Trondheim in Norway.
The problem we're in now, we've got too many people who are older than 25, and the rules of the STA are that half of the crew has to be younger than 25.
For those who've already joined, many of whom have never been to sea on a sailing ship before, it's a final chance to run through vital drills which will need to be carried out day and night throughout the first leg of the race across the North Sea. The multinational community which brought so much to the Northeast is readying itself. The fun of the last 4 days in port is about to be forgotten. Every crew, professional and amateur, has their own thoughts on how the race will go.
We from the Sudof, from CuttyShark, we must be first, I think. I am from St. Petersburg, and my friends are from St. Petersburg too. We think that our ship and our crew are good for this year. We must be first.
I think on a big ship it's some work to do, but it's also fun.
I've been sailing several times before on this vessel, and I always come back because it's such an enjoyable experience, and it's so different from everyday life.
It has been very fun, actually. It's much to learn about sea and everything, so it's a learning every day.
Some of them might get seasick, and like when we were going over to Scotland from Norway, we had some wind and everyone was seasick, and they're going to have some problems.
Everybody is watching everybody else, and I think it's important that you sort of keep your integrity and you stick to your original plans and don't just sail the way everybody else does.
To compete with the bigger vessels, I think we need wind in the face, but we won't get that, I think.
It goes probably how lucky we are with the wind, what tactics and all that. So it's hard to say, really, but we do the very best to win.
It's a time of anticipation, but also a time to reflect. Such has been the success of the tall ships in Aberdeen, a bid to bring them back early in the next century is already being considered.
I always think that everything's a possibility if you go for it, and I think that once we've had the meeting of this one, just to see just exactly the wheres and the wherefores and whatever had happened, and gone into all the details, then I think we will be looking seriously at trying to put in another bid for it, albeit it may be 8-10 years ahead. But if that's the kind of thing we've got to do now, then I think we've got to be up and running very quickly.
Tuesday afternoon, and the ships begin their journey out to the start line. They've thrilled hundreds of thousands on their visit to the Northeast, and will return to Scotland in 2 years' time when they sail into Greenock and Lerwick for the 1999 Tall Ships Race. But for now, it's time to say goodbye.
sogno all'orizzonte, manca le parole. Io sì lo so che sei con me, tu mia luna, tu sei qui con me, mio sole, tu sei qui con me, con me, con me, con me. Time to say goodbye. Paesi che non ho mai veduto e vissuto con te, adesso sì li vivrò con te, partirò su navi per mari che io lo so non esistono più, con te io li rivivrò, con te partirò su navi per mari che io lo so non esistono più, con te io li rivivrò, con te partirò.
Here we are.
Where's your plate? Play it! Edna! Hello! Hiya! Is it on? It is. Go on, push. Go on and push.
So let's rotate it. Swing it around.
Go get on.
It's not got enough weight.
Oh! Oh, missed you.
Alright, congratulations. Now you help lots of babies and whatnot.
સારું ને ભાઈ ભાઈ કાકા કાકા નથી આવે તો હું તો બહુ ખુશ થઈ એ નહીં થાય તેને છોકરાને મોકલવું જોઈએ ને ઓલી છોકરી જમાઈ આવતે જે લોકો ઓન હોય ને you've got them standing on the What's this, champion?
You won't even come here, guys.
Gotta go round. Say 1, 2, 3.
Can't get them to start. Oh, yeah. Let's do a team. Look at that. Look at that. Perfect balance,
Sajan.
Come on, Minna. What are the chairs for?
That's the same.
You're out.
Go on, then. Go, go, go.
What's that chair hitting or what?
That tripped him on.
Okay, go on, let's get these two. Come on.
Get out, go.
No, it's on the side. Don't matter, you've got to come.
On that side.
He's touched you there.
Okay, so everybody remember.
Yeah.